Hello and welcome to Phoenix Vision. I am here with the awesome Dani K, who is an expert salsa teacher. Welcome to the podcast, brother.
Hello.
I've been learning salsa from this incredible gentleman for it's my just coming to the end of the second course, and yeah, I know that you've got like 20 years in terms of salsa teaching experience. So yeah, I just really love to welcome you onto the podcast, and yeah, let's talk salsa, man.
Yes, let's talk salsa. What would you like to know about? I'm sure you have plenty of questions and happy to answer it.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. But well, I'd love to like just open just to hear a little bit about yourself, your journey into salsa, into this like beautiful dance, and into teaching as well. So yeah, what's your journey look like, mate?
Okay, I can tell about my journey. Just before I said, I'm actually losing my voice because for over teaching, I'm teaching a bit too much recently, and so I'm gonna try to save my voice. And sorry for this strange voice we have, but hopefully you can hear me loud and clear, and it's still fine. Um, Well, I started salsa by accident. I'm French. I was living in Bordeaux, which is south of France, and we just went to this club with my friends. They were like my best friend, like three ladies, and they said, "Let's go to salsa." And in my mind, it's like salsa is for old people, because I could just see my mom and dad dance salsa, and obviously, when you're 20 years old, 22 years old, you don't want to look like your mom and dad. So I was like, no, that's for all people. I don't want to do that. I used to go to R&B, hip hop, Afro parties. That was to be something for young people. So anyone that was almost over 35 years old, they were too old. So I need something from the same age. But we went to this salsa place, and there was all type of ages there, from young to old. But we did the first step, and it was just amazing. And I was like, oh, I like these things. And my friend, they did just for fun. So we went back a second week again, and we did for fun, but I actually started to really like this thing. And the ladies, they stopped. They didn't carry on, but I did carry on. And after months, I just wanted to learn salsa more. It was just once a week was not enough. I needed something more than that. So I started to look for other classes. I started to almost take classes every single day of the week. I could go out every single night. And yes, within a year, I improved much faster than most of the people, which makes sense because I did invest a lot. And yes, I start to teach from that, and I start to become who I am. Travel to back to Paris, and then from Paris come back to the UK in 2008. And yes, before that, I was playing basketball a lot. I used to play basketball in a semi-professional level, and I had a bit of injuries on my knees, and I couldn't play basketball that much. So it was just I need something to burn my calories and that energy. So that's why I needed more than once a week salsa. And then from that, yes, I start to become arrived in the UK 2004 for an internship. It was nice. Went to learn a lot from many salsa teachers in London. That was great. I loved it. I finished my internship. I went back to France, did my master degrees in business and management and science economical. And then 2008, I'm back to England again for 6 months just to learn English and go back to France and finish my PhD. I never go back to France. I never carry on my PhD. And the main reason was salsa. So I arrived after 2 months. All my savings were gone, about 3K within 2 months, just because I'm going out and I'm dancing and I'm loving it. And when I'm starting to search for my internship, my CV was really strong, but my English was the biggest issue. They're like, oh, you're so good, everything is great, but to work in a business environment, you can't do it with this level of English. You need to take at least 2 to 3 months courses of business English first, get a certificate, and now we can, if you come back with us, we hire you 100%. We hire you more than just the 6 months you're asking. We hire you for full-time job in our companies. And I was like, okay. So I didn't have any more money because I spent all my money within 2 months. And I say, what can I do? Let me try to teach salsa again. um, because I used to teach salsa part-time after work, after studies. So I was like, let me try again. And so I asked a few places to teach salsa in London. And those companies, when they accept it, I realized that working 3 hours of teaching salsa a week was enough to pay my rent and having my pocket money. And I was like, why would I work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, to earn the same money? Or I could work 3 hours a week and be in a club, dancing with people, having fun while I'm still young. My choice made it clear. I was like, I'm gonna do this. But I know it won't last 2 months, 3 months, but at least for 2, 3 months, I'm gonna have extra fun. And yes, 15 years later, it still has become my full-time job. So nothing has taken me out to make me feel like I financially cannot support myself and I need to be out of the salsa world. So I feel very lucky about that. And here we go.
I really love that, man. I really love that because you very much like followed your passion and was able to like turn that into like a full time career. And because I think like a lot of people within our society kind of struggle with this idea of like, oh, I'd like to kind of follow my passion and I'd like to do what I enjoy, but it's always going to be like a passion project, and there's no way that I'm actually going to be able to sustain myself. But through that. But I see day in day out like so many people are able to follow what they enjoy, follow their passion, and be able to make a living from that. So like, yeah, what could you say for people who might be kind of in a position whereby there may be a double-barreled question? Okay, what do you think life might have been like had you gone down the business path compared to the path that you took? And then secondly, could you give any advice for anyone who maybe wants to follow their passion but kind of is maybe blocked from being able to do that, if that makes sense?
It's very difficult to answer these questions. They they're very personal, individual, and a lot to do with how you grow up and the way you see the world, the way you think, and what is actually really important for you. And for some people, it's important. They feel valued, they feel happy. Let's call it happy if they feel like they succeed in corporate places, or they have their own business, they have money, they can buy their own house and have the cars and travel to those amazing holidays overseas that cost a lot of money, and the clothes they're wearing, that's what they care. So I think I will advise them not to follow the dreams, because the dreams won't give them that path. I mean, they can, but it's very, the people who successfully like can make this happen within the dance community, they know a lot. It's a very small percentage comparing to most dancers that you talk, they're all gonna struggle financially. They're all not gonna own houses. They're not gonna be able to afford things easily. But if you ask them if they would change it, they would say no, because they're so happy about it. They love the choice. The dance is more important than those things for them. So the few people I talk to, I can talk about my wife, who was in corporate world, and when she met me, she saw how I live and she saw what I'm doing. And she had enough of the corporate world, but the financial pressure was so difficult for her to realize that she was in a toxic world and she didn't enjoy it. But when she could see from me there's other ways to do it, she made the decision to quit the industry and to go back to dancing. And she was a dancer. She's an excellent dancer. And she's actually one of the teachers as well in City Academy. And now, but before, there was a lot of how I'm gonna make it financially. So even though the struggle might still be there, but there's no way she will be back. And she's so happy she's out of the that corporate world where she wasn't and she was not happy. So it's very difficult, but we know that deep down, most of the people will choose to do the small dreams, but the financial pressure is so big that like this is beautiful, but how am I gonna pay my rent, my mortgage, my kids, my everything else? Therefore, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna go and work. Just like many people, they clean bathrooms, not because they love to clean bathroom, because they think that's the best way they can find to survive and provide for their families. Um, I'm just lucky that I'm following something that I love, and I made it happen. Luck and work together can get you things that you want. So that's what I've done.
Mm. Yeah, cool, man. Cool. Like, yeah, I think when you're following what you love, like certain like that power, that magnetizing force can very much like open doors and make things happen almost magnetically. Yeah, so I think sticking like doing what you love is important, and like even if like you can't necessarily do what you love for your working profession, I think like it's really important to find and cultivate that space of your life whereby you can do what you love, whether it's like dancing in the evening. I mean, like for like my experience being like a baby in salsa is just like through your help and your guidance, I've like managed to tap into something that I didn't know that I'd love so much. Like I'm really into it, and like just want to learn more and deepen more. And it's like coming to the class is like this one. It's probably the space in my week that I'm the most alive and the most lit up, because it's just such a great thing to be doing. I find, and your instruction is second to none. Really enjoyed having you teach us, and I'd love to ask you, like, with that preface, like, what would you say would be your encapsulation of the essence of salsa?
Oh, fun, relax, enjoy, good moments, and happiness. And because the salsa we do, it's a social dance salsa. And I feel like we humans need connection, whether it's mental connection, physical connections, but we need to be connected. We're all looking for something that makes us feel good. And we know how our brain works. Stress, worries, all of that doesn't do great in our brain, can create stress, bring illness, and everything like that. So anything that's gonna release those endorphins and make us feel better, smiling, being happy, doing something that's physically you moving and you're still burning some calories, your heart's going up, but not in a stressful way, but in a smiling way. All of that, it's amazing for our brain and for our everyday happiness. And this is salsa. And 20 plus years in the industry. And once I'm in the class, I just love it. I always struggle to almost finish right on time, because if it would be me, I would just carry on forever without stopping. I never find it boring, and it just great. There are many times I didn't get the motivation to go to teach, because when I'm at home, I'm outside salsa, I'm experiencing a little bit of the same stress sometimes. Oh, the rent. Oh, I need to go to the post office. Oh, take the bin out, do the washing, do this. Oh, the kids, the feed. Oh, there's so many things that can come in, all these emails, and you're so caught up and stressed, and you think, oh gosh, I need to go and work. And you like, you take the salsa, I need to go and work, like, oh, I'm sure I'm okay, let me do it. And once I arrive there and I see people face start to smile, the friendliness, everything else, I forgot all my stress, everything outside the salsa. And now I'm like, this is what I like. Guys, let's start the class now. And we're having such a great time. And when I finish there, I'm like, oh, I feel relaxed and it's just great. So when I have this moment, I'm so happy that I have my therapy, which is my salsa, to do it every week and every week to see those smiles and those people who are excited, motivated, they want to learn, they want to get it right. They want to just have a good moment and relax and fun. And so yes, that's the sense of salsa for me, is to be able to reach that. Now I am also a teacher, which is different to an entertainment person. I'm not just here to tell you, oh, you what you're doing is amazing. You're amazing no matter what. And I'm here to teach you steps correctly. And I need to find a way to make sure that you learn it correctly. Because if you don't learn it correctly and you're gonna reach to levels, you're gonna realize, oh my God, I've done this for 6 months, for a year, but actually now when I improve, I realize that my teacher just make me feel good about what everything I've done wasn't correct. And you're gonna have that deceive and that negative mindset, and you're gonna feel like, oh wow, that was not what I wanted. You actually want to be able to do it well. So I'm gonna try to teach you to make sure you get it well while you're still having the fun. And that's the challenge I have. But I will always gonna prioritize fun first and then get the step correctly. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I can
Mm.
really relate with what you're saying about like the salsa almost being like a medicine, really. Like, you know, happiness is a medicine, the dance being a medicine. You know, my observation of like my internal state as well as the class when I get there, kind of like everyone's kind of like, you know, people aren't talking too much and they're kind of like carrying the tensions of the day, and then you know some magic starts weaving throughout the session, and then come the end, like, well, halfway through everyone's laughing, everyone's having a good time, we get to the end and everyone's just really open and loving and in a good place, and it's a really strong medicine. And I know myself, like, by the time I get home, because for me it's quite late. I'm usually in bed by like 9:30, like each
Oh
night.
wow.
Like need my sleep, like, so I'm trying to balance like, oh, how do I get out to the salsa club and kind of like keep myself
Yeah,
balanced.
fair enough.
But like so I usually come get back at like 10:30, quarter to 11. So like usually I'd be like super tired the next day. But every single day after salsa, well, every night I sleep perceptibly deeper and I wake up with more energy in the morning. And like my Wednesdays, I'm always on fire. Like the day after salsa, like I'm super productive, super like feeling good, even though like I've not had as much sleep as I usually would, which is like, yeah, it's just a really interesting observation. So yeah, yeah, I'd love to ask you about rhythm, because for many people, I'm quite challenged with rhythm. I'm kind of learning more with my rhythm, and I've noticed that certain things with like my rhythm, I can see it on guitar, getting slightly better through since I started the salsa. So, what could you say for people who may not feel like they've got the rhythm, and like how can salsa help influence your sense of rhythm, and does this have an effect on, say, the rhythms of your life in general? Would you think?
Mm. Uh, well, let's go with the word salsa. Salsa is it's a sauce in Spanish, and a sauce in English, same as in French, une sauce. It's a mix of ingredients, and salsa for me is life, because life is not just one element. It's a mix of ingredients. It's a mix of everything. It's a mix of good mood, bad mood. It's a mix of sun and night. It's a mix of um, rain and sunny day. It's a mix of all of that together, and that's what creates the world we're living in. The the brothers, the sisters, the friends, the cars, the bicycles, the walking, and to pick up what you actually like from that. So when it comes to salsa, it's such a big mix of culture, because salsa it's a lot to do with Africans from slavery, um, who arrive in Cuba and then they've been moved to Cuba, arriving in Haiti, and then after that they've been all separate, go to Cuba, Puerto Rico, and Latin America, mixed with the indigenous people who used to live there, and they mix this culture and they start to do it, and knowing that the masters also, the colons, slave masters, who came in with the dances, like the hold position, all this hold position like that, whether you can see me or not. These are very European way to hold, from the French aristocracy, I never know how to say that correctly, um, from the Polish, from the Spanish. And so they go there and they mix, and without noticing, we allowed the past and all the horrible things that happened to be mixed together. So we almost like forgot all the bad things, and now we only take the positive things, which is having these African rhythms mixed with the Spanish guitar, the piano, the bass from the jazz, and the saxophone and the drums, the timbas, the congas from Africa, and the timbales from the Caribbean, and all of these things been mixed together, so we can create this beautiful dance called salsa. And that dance, and when it comes to music and rhythm, has also been exported to the people who come to salsa classes. You can see the salsa people come to salsa class. You have everything. You have people gonna come in suits, people gonna come in tracksuits, wearing high heels, flat shoes, dress, jeans. It doesn't matter how we look, and the age doesn't matter. You have all type of age in the classes, and it's so mixed. And it's, for me, it's life, and I just love it. I just love it. I'm not sure if I answered the question, but at least you have an idea about what I'm thinking.
Yeah. No, that's a really beautiful articulation, man, and I really feel your love. Yeah, I really feel your love in all of the classes as well, and I think that loving vibration, because like you know, I think the role of the teacher is like really important, because like your like love of the subject, or your infusion of the subject, you're like a distillation, and then you kind of transmit that to the participants. I really feel your love transmitted in when you teach, and I think it really like yeah, it really helps, because I'm falling in love. I'd like to come to more like the club more, but yeah, like it's really great. And like moving on to the club, like I came to the club for the first time the other day with the group. I saw some incredible things, like whoa, like the way these guys move. Some of them was just like I was absolutely blown away, because I saw some of the possibilities. And there's this one couple in particular that I remember. They were just doing all sorts of crazy things, like and so fast, spinning, holding each other, moving from position to position, and like it was so polished and slick that it looked like it was choreographed. And this is what blew me away the most, is like these guys were just doing some of the most phenomenal things I've seen, but it was all like completely off the cuff and just completely improvised. So yeah, it kind of gave me a glimpse of what's possible. So yeah, I'd love to like ask you, what is the journey from kind of like where we're at now with like beginning, and to kind of being able to move in some of the ways that like some of these guys move.
Yes. Basically, what you just saw was just a projection of yourself in a few moment time when you're gonna be able to do all of these moves. So that was just you. Uh, the progressions is a stress-free progressions. It's individual and personalized progressions. It's never gonna be the same depending of who you are, because there's no pressure. The social salsa is not a competition. It's not about who's best, who's better, and who can get there the fastest. It's not a run. It's not a walk. It's a promenade. It's
Yeah.
and you do it the way you want. So based on your skills, based on your time that you want to sacrifice on it, based on your ability, based on your background, what you have you done dance before? Um, have you learned before? How's your physical body? Do you have injuries? Do you have difficulty to do things physically or not? And what is your understanding mentally? Physically, you might be fine, but you still struggle to understand things. It takes you a little bit longer than others to get it. So many reasons why this will impact the speed of when you're going to be able to reach from here to here. That's going to depend. But what is beautiful is we don't need to be here to feel good. And that's the mental challenge that we need to have, because everything I taught you from the first class that you had was enough for you to have an amazing moment. And these guys here, they're looking for an amazing moment. But sometimes we, on the lower level, because we just started, we think, I cannot have an amazing moment until I reach here. I need time. I need to learn more. I need more content. Once I reach here, I can finally enjoy it. Almost like I'm going to do this competition. I'm struggling now. It's hard. But once I win the prize, I got my cup. Yes, now I can enjoy. While salsa, it's the enjoyment from the beginners is no different from the enjoyment of the advance. But we have to be mentally ready and to see it and to accept it, which is difficult because the society where we come from, it's a lot of progression. Who has the more money? Who has this? Who has that? Who's the best? Who has the best position in the work? Who's your superior? Who's your manager? Who's your CEO? So we have these levels, and we believe that those levels are somehow better. You prefer to be a CEO than to be this guy, and that's what happened. If you don't understand that you don't need that for salsa, therefore all the difference is they can do more things than me because they learn it. But when we dance, even I do 3 steps and they do 20 steps, I'm having as much fun and sometimes maybe more fun than them. Because if they don't apply it correctly and they just do it to show off and they're forgetting the fun, they're not really enjoying it that much. While this, we don't do much in enjoying. The best example is languages. You can speak, are you English?
Yeah.
Yes. So you're English and you can speak with an Italian who just arrived in England for 6 months. And you can have an amazing conversation with that person and the biggest smile and love it. Every time you see that person, great. Whether it's a boy, it's a girl, it's whatever you want, but you're having a good time with that person, even though they don't speak that well. And they do a lot of grammar and mistakes. And the English, you will never read the English as a great English, but the conversation is amazing. And you have this well-spoken English teacher, master teacher for 20 years from Oxford. But when you have that conversation with that person, you find it boring, you find it annoying, even though everything the way he said is perfect. But the intention and the conversation and the flow doesn't work. And this is the difference between levels. Levels doesn't mean better in terms of having fun. It just means I can do it better, but it doesn't mean we're having better fun, if that makes sense. And so if you understand that, now, how long it will take you, how much time do you spend on that? How often do you go out to practice? Do you actually practice correctly what you're learning or not? because you can practice 20 times the same thing, but if you practice wrongly, you spend a lot of time practicing, but you haven't practiced correctly. So all of that will matter. And that's how you see progression. Now, if I remove all of these things without taking anyone individually, as a group, most of the people in our classes, when they take classes, after a year, they feel really comfortable and more confidence of dancing. And most of the people, after 2 years, 3 years, they feel like great. And I'm talking about people going out at least once a week. Because again, you can dance salsa for 10 years, but if you go out once a year, you have 10 times practice. You dance salsa for 6 months, but you go out twice a week, you have 50 times practice, for example. So you have more practice and experience in doing it. So definitely, and we build more confidence. So I'm not sure if I answered that question again, but at least you got my answer.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, it really speaks to me of enjoying the journey rather than the destination, which I think is something we all fall into. I know I definitely fall into that. I mean, the very nature of the question was orientated around that. So, I really like because you mentioned how like that's like a cultural thing as well, and especially like in the city, we're kind of geared up in this goal orientation of just like, when I reach this, it will be this, and it's striving for that place of perfection. And if we're always living in the future, then we're not enjoying the present, and then like life will slip away because we're not able to be here now. Yeah. So yeah. In terms of I'd love to ask a little bit about the dynamics between the partners in the dance. Like I know like there's like a leader and a follower, but I'd love to ask about kind of like the different roles of the leader and follower, but also like could you on the masculine and feminine dynamics and how the two are interacting with each other, because I saw something in the club, like it's the same couple dancing, and I kind of got a feeling of like kind of those dynamics, and touched on a little bit about how it could be working. But I'd love to hear your perspective of the masculine and feminine dynamics within the dance, please, bud.
Can you develop more so I can understand what you really want me to? Because I'm not sure I understand the question. What do you mean by masculine and feminine dynamics?
Yeah, sure. So, it twins back to the leaders and the followers, and kind of like the different roles, and it's not so much men and women, because I know like women can be leaders and men can be followers as well. So yeah, I'd love to open up like some like what do the dynamics between the two look like, and do things switch up, and then because it really speaks to me of an impression of the dance between the masculine and feminine, and those two different energies which are different in nature but complementary, and one needs the other.
So that's really important. That's really good question. I think now, how can I answer that? Is we have what we used to do, and we have what we're doing right now, and then there will be what we're gonna do, but we don't know yet because we haven't done it yet. So we can only plan on that. When it comes to couple dancing, it used to be, and it's still very strongly between men and women. So it's men and women dancing together. Now, especially the society where we're living in, it's more than okay to see two women dancing together and two men dancing together. Now, when we used to see men and women dancing together, doesn't mean there's a relationship between them. Doesn't mean there's a physical or sexual attraction between them. They're just a man and woman dancing together. So when it comes to social dancing, it's okay for my wife to dance with another man and me to dance with somebody else's wife. because we just do a social dance, we're just exchanging. It's almost the same as, because I believe dance is a conversation, it's the same as my wife having a conversation with another man on a dinner table or in a friendly way, you know. This is okay. I shouldn't tell my wife, do not speak to any other man in this planet other than me. It wouldn't make any sense. Um, so when it comes to social dancing, what we normally do one dance with one person, and then we switch to another person, another person. We never stay with the same person very often. We do it because it could be our very good friends and we love to dance with them, because it's our favorite dancers and we just prefer to dance with that person more than anybody else. So we might ask that person several times in the night, let's dance together again, let's dance together again. Or maybe have 2 dance or 3 dance in a row. Or because it's somebody that we fancy, somebody that we're attracted to. That's why we want to dance with a person. But because of that number that we don't stay all the time with that person, it creates this beauty of social dancing. So now it almost doesn't even matter if we dance with a man and man, woman and woman, or man and woman. It's just a fun. For example, when I dance with a man, it's like I'm having a conversation with you. So we don't need to have the attraction that you talk is the same as the attraction that we have when we talk, you and I. We smile, we're having a good time, we're excited, the conversation we're having, this is good, and that's what is happening there. But reality is, most of the time, it will be a man and a woman. And in our society, most of the time, man and woman are the one who kind of attract and they are together. So when it comes to dance, it's becoming more that there's a little bit of flirt, there's a little bit of connection. It's easier to make it happen within the dance than when we don't have the dance. But on the salsa social, a lot of the connections can only be based just on the dance. I would say most of the people dance for the dance. But it's life. You might have this girl who always been to that place for a year and she just love to dance and she just go back home alone all the time. And suddenly now Jess come on the dance floor and she dance with Jess, but oh, look at Jess' eyes. Look at her smile. Suddenly after the dance, she want to know more about you. Hey, is that your first time here? Oh, yes. Oh, good, you know, because it's just the normal way things goes. Whether she meets you on the dance floor, she meets you on the streets, or we're buying something in Sainsbury. And that's what's going to happen. So I will talk more about the dynamic between the 2 dancers, the leaders and the follower. But you and I, we know that 90% are men and women. But the dynamic between leaders and follower, it's about a conversation, having a great moment together. Mm. Whether I talk with your sister, or I talk with your mom, or I talk with my sister or my mom, it's a man and woman, but that doesn't matter. It's about what are we talking about? Oh, we talk about family, we talk about good food, we're talking about holidays, we talk about kids. So what do we dance on? Is our dance great? That's the conversation we're doing on the dance floor. And that's the dynamic that probably you see. But maybe from the place you're coming from, you might think you see also physically somebody, a man and a woman. So that's why but it doesn't matter whether it's a man or woman, because you don't only speak nicely to your brothers and sisters and mom and dad. You also speak nicely to friends, to strangers, to person you meet for the first time. You want to be as nice as you can. And that's what is the dance is about. And by having that, smile every time you meet someone. Hey, hello. Oh, how much it costs? The lady at the till with a smile, you know. You want to be respectful and nice. This is how dance are. So you might see that, wow, everybody looks so connected, so in there, because they technically want to go for that purpose, like to have a great time. I'm not sure if I answered that question again, but you have another
No, no,
perspective, maybe.
that's beautiful. Thank you, bud. No, that's really that's shifted my perspective in a number of different ways, especially like seeing the dance as more of a conversation. Like this is like really really powerful because you know as you're speaking, I can see it. You know, every single person is different, and the steps of your language and the way you integrate with the person is completely different. You know, with some people the conversation can be like really flowing and easy. With other people it can potentially be like a little bit frictional, and I guess that's all kind of expressed through the dance as well.
Like for example, uh, I dance with people who dance with me and they really dislike it, and they took it out of the dance. They dislike dancing with me, but they don't even want to talk to me. And there are people who probably don't want to dance with me that much often, but they love me as a person, and vice versa. And I have people that I love as a person, but I don't want to dance with them very often. There's less connection between us, or vice versa. I love to dance with that person, but oh gosh, when it comes to conversation outside dancing, I don't want to really hang with that person. It's really personal, individual, and well, in 20 years, this is why I met my two wives. I got married once and divorced, and married again a second time now, with someone that I met in the dance. And but I met so many other souls in the dance, and there was no connection to that level to go to. Oh, let's hang up together. Let's be partners. Let's get married. Let's have kids. So things can happen, but you need that. It's like in a real life, you need that connection. I'm sure you had conversation with many women in your life. How many of them did you marry and do you have kids with them? And it's the same when it comes to salsa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, sure. No, I hear you, bud. I hear you. Um, yeah, in terms of the so what I've felt throughout has been an opening for sure, and like there's been an opening that's made me like I step into greater areas of confidence. So actually like because I remember when I first started, actually I was having like quite a lot of trepidation actually like dancing with women, and this was actually showing me like lots of like you know like still like reticence around kind of like opening up into a certain vulnerability that I was feeling at the start. um in expression in that like kind of like dancing arena with someone of the opposite sex. But like as the courses have gone on, I've definitely felt an opening and like a dissolving of that kind of self-consciousness and being able to move more into that fun space. So yeah, I guess my question here is like, what could you say for the salsa being beneficial for someone's confidence, and what can it do? Because I know you've done like a confidence coaching for people as well.
Yes. I have a class that I teach in school, confidence on the dance floor. And the thing is, it's a lot to do with the world you're living in and the rules and the norms, what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. Um, I'm coming from France, which is um, Western country, which is a modern countries. It's a liberal countries. You have freedoms of speech, freedom of dressing up and behaving and everything else. The reality is different between what it says in the law. The reality is when you walk out there, especially at my time, I'm talking about 20 years ago, 10 years ago, even now, some of my French girls, the ladies, when they come to England, they dress up differently when they are in London they don't dress up the same when they're in France, because when they dress up in certain places, certain streets in France, and they got treated differently when they wear this mini skirt and everything else, and they put makeup and they dress up the way they feel like beautiful, men will scare them. They will treat them badly. Oh, you are this. Oh, you are this. Oh, come close to me. Oh, that's what you want. You dress up like that because that's what you want for me. So they don't feel confident to dress up like that. And when I come to England, 2004, I was in England in 1991. I was 11 years old. I can't remember any of this. I was too young, and it was just for a day. But when I came to live here for 6 months, 2004, and I go to the West End, Leicester Square, Oxford Circus, bar time, and I see every girls wearing the super small skirt. They all super sexually, like what I would call a sexually exposure, showing you a lot of the body part and everything else. I saw legs. I was like, my head, I couldn't, I was like every 2 seconds, oh my God, look at this girl. Oh, look at this girl. Look at this girl. Look at this girl. Look at, I couldn't look anywhere. But after a week, it just become the norm. I realized this is how people do it this way. This is how they're doing it. It doesn't mean more than what I think it is. They just want to dress up like that. Yes, some people might, but who do I know who? I don't know, you know? So, and it's nothing to do with dress, because I also met people dress up fully, oh my God, but sexually, they mentally were more than those who showing off. So I just realized that was the norm. So when I understand the norm, I realized that it's really depending of where you live and your culture and what people believe it's okay to do and people believe it's not okay to do. And when it comes to salsa, we have that confidence when people feel like, oh wow, I'm looking at somebody else in the eyes, I'm touching somebody's hands. What does that mean if I touch somebody's hands in the street, you know, or anywhere else? But when it comes to the dance, you're realizing the first time, oh my God, you feel that, oh my God, what's going on? What's going on? But the more you do, you're realizing, oh, this is a norm. This is okay. There's nothing more than that. Actually, just at the dance, you know? And and you just learn from that. When it comes to the confidence, salsa, it's amazing. A lot of people coming to the dance, they're coming with some preset way of thinking. That's what we all are. And I feel like now it's getting less and less, the new generations, because of the dance, the way people see dance. But before, dance was still for women, for ladies. Men play football, men play basketball, men go to the bar. Ladies go to the dance. Ladies go to the kitchen. Ladies clean the floor. So we have this stereotype of what men should be, should look, should go to the gym, and the ladies what they should do. So once we remove the stereotype, we're realizing that when it comes to salsa dancing, it's actually fine to be men and women. It's actually fine for men to be in a dance and to dance with women and not to feel, to have that pressure that we can have as a man, like, oh my God, am I in the right place? What does my friends think of me? What is my dad gonna think of me? I'm doing a dance. And also the pressure from that woman, oh my goodness, she's looking at me, she's a woman, but she thinks I'm doing wrong. Why do I let a woman make me feel bad? I shouldn't let her do that. I'm a man, I should take control. There's so many battles that we have. And it's my job as a teacher to make all these things normal and to make people realize there's no need to worry, to have fear, to stress, and to understand this is a norm, this is what is okay. And we, the men, we can also allow our femininity side of it to be expressed. And it doesn't make us feminine. And it's okay to dance with other women. It's okay to move our hips. It's okay to move our shoulders as a man. And it doesn't make us less masculine. And the irony, I always said now, because I used to play sport and basketball, real men who like women are not the one who playing football because they are with men's. Real men's is the one who are with the women's who are doing salsa because they actually connect with salsa. I rather touch as a man a woman rather than to touch a man in the football, in the basketball. So it's just a different concept. But because if you don't change the mentality, it was very fine for me to play and touch men in the basketball. But if I have a choice now, I'd rather be with a woman. It's just more, it's my preferences. Let's call it that way.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you, mate. I hear you. Yeah, yeah, that's a really beautiful explanation, and I found it's been like a really interesting, not just a really interesting dance journey, but a really interesting personal development journey. Like, man, every time I step into class, there's like certain challenges that that you just brought up, and in terms of like my thinking and like my confidence, and one thing I recognized that towards the start of the course, I was like really tense and really anxious in certain areas, and like my main thing was like, oh, like getting it wrong, and like all of this like stories, and I started to realize that actually like my tension was causing tension in my partner, because like when I'm kind of in this place of self-consciousness, I think you actually pointed out in one of the earlier classes, like I had like a frown on, and I had like just like wasn't
Yes.
smiling or something like that, and I was recognizing like, man, I'm affecting my partner, and this isn't kind of creating like a really nice space for us to dance, really. So then it's just part of it was just like dropping that self-consciousness, accepting that, okay, I'm going to make a mistake, that's what we're here for, we're in a class. And then when I started to loosen up and relax into it, suddenly we were both smiling, and actually, no, okay, yeah, this is not perfect, but it's not going to be perfect, but we're having fun.
And that's the same thing. I give an example before about a conversation between speaking with that person who doesn't speak English very well, but she's smiling, she's relaxed, she's okay, she's confident. She doesn't speak with you like, Jess, can I? Oh no, no, that's a mistake. Can I go to the toilet? Oh no, sorry, the bathroom. You're gonna be like, oh come on, just relax. Just say it, just point it out. Say this, it's okay. That's how you're gonna feel. Like just say the sentence, doesn't matter to me. And and that's how I feel as a teacher. And I want you to feel to realize that what you think is a mistake, it's not a mistake in the eyes of the teacher. You are beginners, you're starting your journey. It doesn't matter to me. I want you to relax, and the more you're gonna relax, it's gonna work. And it's a lot to do with fear and worries. If you know behind the door there might be a lion who's very hungry and he already ate one human, might eat you, you won't be sitting there and smiling. You're gonna be just the thought of it, you're gonna already like, oh my god. And but if I told you there's nothing behind the door, like every day you're gonna stand up, open the door, and the mind and the words, the imagination that we put is so powerful. And all I have to tell you is to use a word. And if I say one word, especially in a language you don't understand, you're gonna be like, oh, what's that? If I say with a smile, you're gonna smile and say, oh, what's that? And I'm translating you, oh, actually, I just curse you in a really bad way and I say that you this and that. Suddenly you're gonna be, why would you do that? You're not gonna smile. But if I use another word that means good things, but I'm saying in a like, oh, Jess, you're really a nice person, you know that? You're gonna be like, oh, that sounds wrong. What's wrong? And I tell you, oh, that's what I meant. You're gonna be like, ah, okay, thank you. But you can say that with a more relaxing face. You don't have to tell me this way. And so the words matter a lot. if somebody call us and tell us words about a passing brothers, mom, sons, that word's gonna affect us because we're gonna, wow, that things really happen. We're gonna emotionally start to feel sad and cry. If somebody tells us word, oh, you actually won this, you're actually amazing person, I just want to tell you how amazing you are and what you're doing for my life, suddenly it's gonna change in your mind. So words matter a lot to me because they create the imagination, they create them what we actually want to put and believe in. So if we realize that there's no reason to worry and to fear, my goodness, dance is beautiful because we're realizing, wow, what am I stressing about? What am I worrying about? You know?
Mm.
But in real life, we know what we worry about. If you don't have enough money to pay your rent, you might sleep on the floor under the bridge. That's a worry that you constantly have all the time. So if you earn enough, a millionaire, and you know you that thing cannot happen to you, you're fine. But if you're on the edge and you earn just the limits, every month you're thinking, am I gonna make it? What a constant stress and life you're living on. So when it comes to dancing, whatever those people are, I want them to escape from the real world. And for a moment, which is still real, that 1 hour, 2 hours, to have a stress-free moment, to have a time when they just gonna have fun. So when I see students coming to have fun, but they can't have fun because they tense, what does person think? Am I doing good? Is the teacher looking at me? Is he gonna shout at me? Or what? All of this doesn't help. I'm like, oh my god, I need to find a way to help those people. I need to find a way. And yes, and when I succeed, I can see people smile, people relax, and there's many people that don't succeed. Sometimes I can try every single thing, but it doesn't work. They still don't believe it. They're like, no, I don't trust you. And trust is the word. If you sign up for my class, technically you have given me trust that I have the knowledge to help you get to the fun. But people don't apply that trust. They're like, I trust you, but I don't trust you. Because if I trust you, I will follow you without looking at you. I will trust. If I say fall on the floor, fall from the front, I will hold you without saying me, you should do it without hesitation because you trust I'm gonna hold you. If you're like, are you sure? Then you don't fully have that trust. But trust need to be built. So it takes some time. So those who stay with me, they trust me and they see they get the result they want. Those who struggle, that's normal, and they have a different journey, and it is what it is. But once you remove all this fear, life is beautiful.
Amen to that, brother. Amen.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's great, man. I want to yeah, want to ask a question, but kind of preface it with my first experience of salsa and like I came for an intensive with you end of last year, and my God, did I suffer? Not because of the class or like your teaching, it was just like my ability. I just couldn't click. And like we had like a whole day, I was getting like really frustrated because I just couldn't get the steps, and everyone else in the class like got the steps, and I
Mm.
was just like kind of crumbling towards the end because however hard I tried, it nothing would click and nothing would go in. And I kind of left not feeling demoralized because it kind of made me just like, no, I will get good at this no matter how long it takes. And I was really happy with myself for being able to do that. And the funny thing was is that I went home, slept, got up the next day, and I was just like, okay, let's try this again. And immediately, like my brain had done something overnight, and I could suddenly do the steps. And it was like, oh wow, okay, cool. And then like really enjoyed deepening the knowledge over the last few weeks with you, and kind of feels like I've at least got a little bit of flow now, and it's opening up onto good things. So I'd love to ask you if you got any advice for beginners when they're maybe struggling, like I was struggling, because like it was difficult and it was like demoralizing for a bit. And at a point, I was just like, oh, shall I carry on? Like, am I going to get it? So well, I guess like what are some of the common challenges for beginners, and what advice could you give the beginner salsa dancer to help overcome some of these challenges?
I want to believe that the issue was comparison, competition, because I remember you struggling comparing to the others. But in my eyes, you were not struggling. In my eyes, you were just taking longer to get the steps. But because the other one, not everybody, because there's other people struggling as well in that class, I remember, but because most of the people were getting quick and faster, you compare yourself to them, and therefore you start to lower yourself down. So removing comparison and not to worry about what other people do and how they improve is to have that trust. Easy to say, more difficult to have, again, based on the society we're coming in. But if you do so, you basically allow me to help you. Therefore, I can come and help you out. And some of those people, they have abilities. They done dance before, you haven't done it. They have dance backgrounds. They may be learning more. Some of them, maybe they just lie. They say, I've never done any dance, but maybe they did because they don't want to say it. You have no clue other people's journey. So the best way, instead of guessing, just don't compare yourself with them. But if you would be in a room, just you and I, Jess, you wouldn't have the same feeling, because I could have gone on your speed and you would feel great about it. You wouldn't realize there was something wrong about it. But because you're following the speed of the group, therefore it's difficult. And that's the group. Society, we want to fit in, while we're forgetting that we are individual beings with our own speed and path and reason why things doesn't work or work this way. And I'm not, imagine me making myself feeling bad because your English is better than mine. You know, it's, I can, because it's true. Does it really matter? Does it stop us to have a conversation? You know what I mean? It doesn't. So I'm focusing on the wrong thing. So it's hard, because every student that come, if they don't fit in the group, they got the same mentality as you. They feel like they're not making it happen. They feel like, oh, they're not in the wrong place. Why they doing that? Oh, they look so bad. They don't feel at the end of the course like, oh gosh, I kind of enjoy it, but I was so bad comparing to the others. So it, and what a shame. Imagine if it would be seen differently. One question for you is, what happened in your mind for you not to give up? What was your motivation? Because when I saw you back again to the course, I was like, this is amazing. He's back. He didn't give up. So you already give me a smile. And I'm like, yes. And now you start to see, after weeks, you are happy for not giving up, because you can see the progression. And the more you're going to carry on, you're going to see how much you can get there. And the step that you struggle to do in the intensive, now you're doing it. So what happened in your mind? Because you had some strength to accept that this is not the end and this is fine, and I'm going to carry on again. What was your motivation?
Thank you for the question, mate. Let me think. I guess I kind of like I left the class like really, like I was really frustrated because I had in my mind's eye like I really wanted it. I really wanted to become like a really good salsa dancer, because there's something calling me to it. You know, there's something I feel like when I think of salsa, something pulls me from the chest. It's like my
I
heart
like that.
is kind of like pulling me towards it, and I just left the class just like, this can't be the end, and this is not the end. This is just the beginning. Like I refuse to. No, I refuse, and I kind of like I'm quite a stubborn person, right? So I kind of like I left feeling like a little bit demoralized, but at the same time I was just like, no, I'm gonna. I could stop. I could stop, and uh, if I stop now, I'm always going to regret this. And as I saw it as something that I wanted for my future, so I kind of like made a bit of a promise to myself. I was just like, no, do it until you get better. Don't care how long it takes. Just get back to it, because this is like a really good thing. You saw a glimpse of what could maybe happen. So like, don't let yourself give up on yourself. And that's kind of like the mentality that I left with. And then I was so happy the next day to when I got up and the steps were there. I was amazed, happy. I had like a smile from ear to ear.
Oh, that's nice.
And, but the thing is like, I might have never tried that. I could
So,
have gone. I could have got up the next day and gone like, oh no, it sucked, so I'm not going to try again, and I would have maybe never come back to the class. But it's like I got up the next day and like it worked. So
so another question would be, why? Is it a gift? Is it that you have? Why other people will give up? Why other people won't give up? Is it because have you done things that they haven't done? Did you work on yourself? Did you work on self-confidence and motivation? Did you learn? Did you have some mental work of not to give up on things like that? Or it's just you always been like that and you never done anything? Because as a teacher, I don't know. I don't have time within 1 hour session, within 1 day session, when I have a group of students to teach them some dance content, to be able to know them more. If I have all your contact, I'll be able to see you the next day. Hey, how was yesterday? And figure out more to see you 2, 3 days later. Oh, and then I will be able to either motivate you to carry on or actually realizing this is not meant for you and you can try another patient, something else. But I don't have that luxury to or that time to make it happen. All I do is to do that 1 hour class, and at the end of the day, wait and see who's gonna come back, who's not gonna come back. And I'm talking about those who didn't feel that they did well, because those who feel confidence, most of the time they come back anyway. But those who didn't feel well, they feel like, oh, it was a bit of struggle. How do they decide whether they carry on or they don't carry on? So what was you tell me this is what happened in your mind, but what helped you to get that? Do you think you did something to get that, or you were born with it? It's just a luck.
Thank you for the question. It's quite a deep question, because if I look at it and consider it, no, it's not something that I was born with. And I guess for like quite a lot of my life, I guess would abandon myself in situations and
Mm.
follow through and not maybe stand up for myself. And yeah, just like yeah, it's like self abandonment for many years in many different areas. And I guess I came to a certain point in my life whereby I decided like I'm not gonna abandon myself anymore. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let myself do that and let myself fall into this place of just kind of self pity and victimhood and you know and
Do,
difficulty
do you, would you be able to maybe to see if there was a trigger time, a trigger point that helped you to get that, or it just happened through years without noticing? Or there was at that moment, these things happened, in that moment I decided I'm not gonna abandon myself anymore. Is there anything that happened or no?
yeah. So I had some pretty traumatic things happen around 10 years ago, like very traumatic life situation, which sent me into like a mental health crisis, anxiety, depression. Had to take 3 months off work. Like I was an engineer at the time, and yeah, just not in a very good place at all. And then through physical exercise, I built myself back up, and got and I very much abandoned myself during this time. Like it was a very dark time of my life, like probably like 2 years of just like being in just really difficult space within myself. And I eventually built myself back up through physical exercise, did a Ironman triathlon, and then I cycled from San Francisco down through Mexico.
Did you follow? Did you have a professional helping you, or you just managed to help yourself? Take yourself
Yeah.
out.
So I had a therapist during that time. He's great, like literally saved my life. CBT therapy, which was like wow, and then like really helpful. And then yeah, I took the reins myself and I built myself back up. And then it sent me on. It opened me up to personal development and my personal and in many ways started a spiritual journey of looking at myself and doing development on myself and educating myself on all of the things I needed to heal. And I guess through it took me years to get to a place whereby I had the sense of self empowerment to actually get to a place whereby I wouldn't give up on myself. Because a few years ago, the guy from a few years ago wouldn't have got up the next day and tried it again. Like I just wouldn't have done that. It would have just been another thing that I would have just given up on. But through the years of kind of empowering myself from a very difficult place of disempowerment, I've managed to become a kind of person who doesn't just let that happen. I won't give up on myself now, which I'm like super proud to be able to say. Like this is, yeah, I'm like feeling really good about myself when I express this, because this is not something I've consciously realized until I'm now articulating it. So it's like really making this being able to articulate is
I
really,
know, I
really
know.
damn good.
I know you're gonna ask me a question, but I know I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna ask you a question as well too. I know I'm gonna take it down deep down because I believe it's so important to be able to share this, and when we can share this, we can show we here we're trying to help those who need the help. Those who don't need the help, they find anyway. They're lucky, and I was fine for so many years. I didn't need any help until I went for depression last year. After I met you in, so I did a show after the when we met on New Year's Eve. I don't know if you saw it. I did a show about mental health and depression.
Mm.
I will send that to you so you can see it. And it clicked out because when you said 2 years, I'm like, oh gosh, it's gonna take me 2 years to get out of this. Because it's been since February last year, it's been a year. And I get out of my depression around August, September. But I see that there are up and down, and I know when I read about it that it's not gonna go out fully like that. You will have some up and down. And I'm still battling to get the motivation, to get the confidence as I used to have in many other points outside. I'm so lucky that when it comes to dancing, I don't have any issue about that. It's my craft, and this is why I know the best, and I'm still good at it. But when it comes to myself, things that I haven't worked a lot on it, my mental health, my body, and everything else, I'm realizing how much I am in the same space that you used to be, that you described, not want to do anything and struggle. And until I had this gentleman called Sir Twitch. Twitch is an American dancer, professional dancer, very famous, Hollywood and everything else like that. And he was always in Helen DeGeneres show. He was part of the or the crew of the show. And on the 8th of December, he posts beautiful video of him, his wife, and his kids about how beautiful life is and how lucky he is in his beautiful, super expensive house and everything else. On the 10th of December, he celebrates, I think it's 9 years old, 9 years wedding anniversary with his wife, dancing together, showing how grateful he is for life, making videos on Instagram, how happy he is and everything else. On the 16th of December, he commits suicide.
Wow.
He took his life out. I found out on the 20th of December when this happened. I couldn't believe it because I follow him a lot. And it shocked me, a lot of my family members. But I didn't click in. But that stranger that I never seen physically, I never talked to him face to face, never talked to me. His death has clicked and woke me up, and I decided I've got 7 days in where I am. I'm gonna stood up, I'm gonna prepare a show. As a dancer, what can I do? He woke me up. I said, I don't want that because I saw myself on him. I don't want to reach a level when I'm gonna hurt myself or do something like that. I don't want to go there. So I'm gonna talk about it, and we don't know where that come from. I don't want somebody around me, my friends, to think they're alone and they can't do it. And so I'm gonna do a show. What can I do? I'm a dancer. I'm gonna do a show about it. I had 7 days to make it happen, knowing that I had 3 days trips to go to Devon to see my wife's family for Christmas. So I couldn't dance. I finished the show on the New Year's Eve day, trying to remember it, and I performed it on New Year's Eve, and I make it happen. And I'm so happy because it was a beautiful release for myself, and it helped me to stood up. And I was surprisingly shocked how many people came to see me personally, individually, privately, and telling me about the story and telling me how they related to my story, what they went through and what they couldn't say it, what they couldn't do it, and how it helped them. So I was like, wow, I need to do that. After this, I will post it in our Salsa group, that link the show so you can see it. And the more I talk to people, I found out about somebody that I know who wanted to go. When I talk to them about my show, and they say, I'm gonna share your personal story, but I wanted to go to a hotel and take a gun and do that to myself, and I haven't done it. That was 2 years ago. It's crazy, the mental health that we can all go, but we don't talk about it. And I think it's important to show how vulnerable we are, and the things we go, and connect and hold ourselves in what makes us feel good. And I think that dance is one of them. Salsa is one of them. Like I said, you guys are enjoying my teaching. I am enjoying you learning. It's helped me a lot as well. So it's an exchange. It's also a conversation between the teacher and the students. It's not just me talking at you and just you taking everything from me. I take a lot from you guys as well. And that's what I love about my job, because it's a human to humans. And every 8 weeks, I see different faces, different type of humans to deal with, different ways. So it's so interesting and beautiful to have that. So that's why I wanted to know what was the click. And I knew that I need to ask a little bit more because there's something there. And I now I can see where I come from. So well done on you, Jess. Well done on you.
Wow, like wow, what an articulation. Thank you so much for sharing, brother, and thank you for your question and digging that for me, and then what you just had the courage and bravery to express as well, because it is, such a prevalent thing. We have, like, they say that 1 in 4 people will suffer from mental health difficulties. I think the actual reality So it's way higher than that, but because so many people aren't talking about or able to talk about it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's by sharing our experiences, um, that we help other people heal and get the help that they need, because it can be lonely, like so lonely being in this place, and you think that you're the only person there, and that you think all of these things about yourself is such an isolating, difficult place to be. But knowing that other people have suffer and struggle in the same way can be so freeing, because it opens the avenue to be able to talk about it, and being able to talk about it is like the first one of the first steps in order to get the help and the healing that's needed. And I really deeply feel for your friend the dancer. It kind of puts me on mind of what Robin Williams kind of went through as well. It's kind of like the showing to the world of the projection of like everything is okay,
Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm.
everything is okay, everything is brilliant, and like I really feel for this, because actually like the person is putting that message out into the world while obviously like being in such deep place of suffering and pain within themselves. So being able to express and talk about mental health challenges is what we need to do to dismantle this stigma, this ridiculous stigma that is in place, that keeps people from getting the help and healing that they need. So like thank you like so much for expressing, brother, like really appreciate.
Yes. Um, I'm gonna just try to read that to you. This is part of the show I've done because it's a lot of dance it, but because I'm physically injured, remember, I had my Achilles tendon was fully ruptured, and I have to stop for 7 days, for 7 months, not to be able to work, to walk, and that's where the depression came in, and I want to put a lot of weight on. I used to be 88 kilogram, now I'm 100 kilogram, and almost a year later, I still struggle to take my weight out. A lot of fat. I used to be very physical and like work motivation. So there's a lot of things to do, but um, just gonna read you like just a few sentences of my show. One of them was, to everyone like me, let's be kind to others. Let's be kind to ourselves. Let's do what we love. Let's dance. Let's dance with no judgment. Dance to care, to share, to love, to have fun, to feel good. To everyone like me, our lives matters. With time, all of us at the end will heal and feel better. To everyone like me, always remember we are not alone. Together, we are stronger. So to everyone like me, one more time, let's dance. Let's dance to life. Time for care. And and that's just like a part of my show, and that was the whole message I wanted to send, to know that we just need to allow the time to help us, because there was this story of this gentleman who wanted to commit suicide. At that time, he was on a bridge to jump. He didn't. Somebody talked to him. And 10 years later, that person today he's speaking that is so happy for not having done it.
Mm.
But at that time, you'll have done it, he wouldn't have the chance to say how happy he is not to do it, because he give time. If you give time and you use it correctly, it'll be fine. So when you ask me the question, how long will it take me to make it happen? Time will tell you. Just with time, things are always getting better. And it's important to have that. That's all we have, time. Oh, and that's what we don't have, time. But time is what will tell everything. And yes, talking about time, I need to get myself ready.
Yeah, we got a class a little bit later. Like,
I know.
my God, this has been such a deep and beautiful episode, brother. Like, thank you so much. Like,
Oh,
I've,
thank you.
I've got one final question that I like to ask each guest. That is, Phoenix Vision is dedicated to creating a transformative vision of health and well-being for its listeners. So my question is, what does transformation mean to you, and what would you like to transform in the future?
Oh, interesting. Um, Transformation to me means just adding, or yeah, it could be also removing.
Mm.
So let's call it change, but in a positive way, improvement. So removing what was not working and removing a cancer, removing an illness, adding what was working, adding some health, exercise, some way to see things differently, some health, some work. So this is what transformation will mean for me, improvements.
Mm.
And what was the other question?
What would you like to transform in the future?
Oh, so what would I like to improve in the future? For myself or as a dance teacher?
Anything for yourself, the dance teaching, the world, well, whatever
Oh
changes.
my, oh my goodness, there's so much.
Mhm.
Well, I would love us to have a word of less cruelty as possible, less harm as possible, a word of understanding, a word of love and peace, remove competition, remove greed, remove anything that is not really helping, that we don't really like. A word when we don't have borders, there's no country, but we have one planet, and you can walk anywhere you go, and remove the fear and worries, because when we are in London, no, everybody from England want to live in London. There's a lot of people live in London, but many people like to live in Leeds, in Manchester, and other places in England, Brighton, name them, you know. Um, so when we had European borders, we didn't have all the French who came to live in England because they could come and live in England. Many people in France stays in France, and not all the English people want to live in France because they could go to France. Many people stay in England. So removing borders for every single country with no worry to think that all the Indian or the Chinese or the Mexicans or will want to come and live in England. Removing passports,
Mm.
uh, so we don't have to worry about it, and it's gonna be make our life so easy, and we're just gonna be humans being able to travel and live what we think we can afford and we can live. And oh gosh, there's so many things I would love to make it happen for this world. And removing the fear to be ourselves, to be able to express the way we want, and without worrying that we're going to be negatively judged.
Mm.
And that'll be really beautiful. And look, being able to look ourselves in the mirror and see what we believe is not right and make the change. Because a lot of time we'll see that this is not right, but we don't make the change because we're scared what other people are gonna think of us. We're scared, and oh gosh, there's so much.
Mm.
But this is what we love to, and all of that's applied to salsa as well. So hopefully tonight on the class, everybody gonna remove all the fear, and we're gonna have an amazing time, and that's gonna be great.
Yes, mate. Well, I can say hands down, you are helping me step further into my more authentic expression through the dance, and because it's not just about the dance feeds into your life. So like, okay, it looks like I'm going to the salsa class, but really I'm going to a life class because it is benefiting my entire life, and I'm really feeling that. And I know all of the other people in the classes are as well. So thank you for the amazing and important work that you do, bud. And yeah, lastly, how can people find out more about working with you, either one-on-one or in the dance classes, and anything else that you've got going on? Yeah, how can people find out more?
Well, they can find me via my personal social media, which is Dani K. Um, they can find me on Instagram. They can find me on Facebook. But when it comes to dance classes, they can find me in City Academy. This is only the place that teaches City Academy salsa, because I just love the structure that they give, and the nice studios they give, and it's central, is in London. So I will always gonna recommend City Academy. So that's where they can find me. So if they search City Academy .com, they will find Dani K, and they can find all my classes there. And yes, that's where they can find me, just like you find me there.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. And anyone listening who's in London, or maybe even not in London, highly recommend Dani's classes. My God. Yeah, we got our last one of this block tonight, and I will be definitely signing up for the next course available, which I think is in 2 weeks' time. So, yeah. So rounding off, like, thank you so much for your time, mate. Like, really appreciate it. This has been like a really deep and insightful episode whereby we've really, I think, captured the essence of salsa, as well as explored some other like extremely important topics. So like that, like, thank you for your openness, thank you for your sharing, and thank you for you, brother. Like, I really appreciate it. Really appreciate
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me. That was such a good experience, and I loved it. And I'll see you soon.
Yeah, like literally like hour and 3/4.
Exactly.
Two and two.
Yeah.
All right. Much love, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you.